32 NFL teams in 32 days-ish. Welcome to the Backups Podcast. What's going on, everybody? I am Tex. I'm joined with my buddy, Seb Burnett. He's here as well. Seb, say hello.
Hello.
Seb, 32 NFL teams. We are getting into the nitty-gritty, the fun part of the season and the off-season of the NFL, where we are going to go over the NFL draft and each team week by week, or in our case, day by day, and just talk about what we think each team's going to do. Today is no different. Today we are going to cover the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think we should just dive right into this thing, man. Seb,
Yeah.
You ready to do this shit?
I'm so ready to do this shit.
Ready, set,
Hold on tight, folks. We're bringing in the Backups. It's the Backups Podcast with your hosts, Seb and Professor Tex. Let's do this thing.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is the 2018 NFL Draft. God, I am so excited about this ongoing segment. What the fuck? Blank. So today we have what the fuck Jaguars. One of my favorite teams from last season. Oh yeah, gentlemen, start your engines. Tex, you ready?
Oh yeah.
Oh, do it.
I'm listening to you. Ooh, nice. Yes.
And it some of the condensation went down my hand too, so it's like I just came.
Wow. That's really that's a little bit too much. There's kids listening. Okay? There's fucking kids listening.
Laugh is rough.
What are you drinking?
I'm working on, man. I am absolutely
Midget
head over
sidecar?
heels. Sumo in a sidecar. I'm enamored with this beer, Tex. It's just a very lovely IPA. It's got apricot in there.
Apricot in there?
Yep, I've got apricot in there. It's just very tasty. It's a very different kind of IPA taste, a little bit on the fruitier side. Evil Twin Brewing does a really great job. I looked up, Evil Twin. I was like, man, I'd love to go visit this brewery and get some of this, because one of my favorite things in the world, and I know Texas is the same way, is getting beer directly from the brewery, going there and getting just a tap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because of the new legislation, you can now do that, right? Because
yeah, exactly. It's so well, at least in Georgia. We were just behind as fuck in the U.S. But Evil Twin Brewing, man, they're in Europe.
okay, so across the pond, not a big deal.
Not
you
a
just
big deal,
walk
but they're
in,
gonna
say, "Hello, mate."
hello.
We love
Just the most offensive accent. Watch it be in somewhere like Norway, and you go in there with with an American doing a bad British accent.
We're horrible people. Why are we so ignorant?
It's perfect. No, it's fine. Actually, they're going to open up a tap room in Brooklyn, so we got to go.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very excited. What are you drinking, bud?
Oh, dude! Now I know what you mean by the condensation all over your hand. Reminds me of about 25 minutes ago. Anyways,
what we were talking 25 minutes ago. Come on, man! I told you to stop doing that.
yeah, I know we were. That's why. You remember when I said, "Just keep talking"? I just want to.
You got real quiet.
I just want to listen to you talk. Why am I?
Wait, wasn't it 25 minutes ago? Weren't we talking about how loaded the Jaguars are?
Emphasis on loaded. Yes. No, but so I'm keeping with the raspberry sour theme, and tonight I'm going with Rapturous from 3 Taverns Craft Beers. And to be honest, I'm reading that from the can. I really just like the way this can looks, because I feel like if I were to put on sunglasses and take mushrooms, I would look like this can in the mirror, because it's got a big ass beard. There's raspberries all over it, and the dude's just smiling, really happy. It's like one of the coolest looking beers there is.
Nice. We have to go visit 3 Taverns. It's in Decatur. It's not too bad.
Decatur? What?
Decatur?
Hey, everybody, go ahead and give us a shout out if you in Decatur. I don't even know why I'm talking this way, but I feel feel like,
but he is.
oh my God. Let's get right into this. Guys, I know you're pretty excited to listen to 32 NFL teams in 32 days-ish. Ish? 32 days?
Ish.
Esque.
Yeah, ish.
We're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to be quite frank with you, they don't have many holes. And here recently, I think it was 3 or 4 days ago, the news of the Blake Bortles signing came out, and I think both Seb and I are pretty on board with this signing. I think it feels right for both sides. You know, Blake Bortles was given a $54 million 3-year extension, $54 million deal, $27 million guaranteed upfront, and then the final 27 would be paid out in his salary. And if you can do simple math, folks, comes out to about $9 million and some change over the next 3 years. And I think it's a good deal for both parties. Jaguars have currently, they are 15th in the league for cap space. So they're sitting there right in the middle. But as far as free agents leaving, they really, the most notable free agent that they have that could potentially leave is Allen Robinson, who's coming off of a down season from 2016 where he tore his ACL, and then, in 2016 he had a down season just in general with Blake Bortles, and then this past season in 2017 he tore his ACL. So 24 years old, still pretty young. They're looking to possibly franchise tag him and then hopefully re-sign him, assuming he comes back in time. But outside of that, they don't really have many pieces leaving. And if you look at the draft, I think they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7 picks. Seb, what do you think their biggest needs are?
Well, really right now, they're picking at 29, so we're still at that back half of the draft, and things always just go kind of a little kooky once you start getting back there, because you have teams that are possibly trading up from the second into the bottom half of the first for, that certain player that they really like. The biggest need I see for the Jaguars, honestly, is to just kind of keep buttering their bread and butter. They based a lot of their offense last season on running the ball with Leonard Fournette, and I think making that easier for him to do should be number one priority on their list. What do you think about that?
So making that easier for them to do, are you saying they go offensive line to kind of open those lanes?
I'm saying they go guard. Yeah, guard was kind of an issue for them last year. They're pretty short up at tackles. So when you're picking at 29, generally from all the mocks and from what we're hearing from sources and whatnot, the Jags are like an Isaiah Wynn a fair amount, offensive guard out of Georgia. They're looking at Billy Price. They really like him as well. He's a nasty man. Like, if you watch his film, dude, he is disgusting.
Well, I think that when you look at this back half of the draft, you really have to consider value, okay? Mock drafts only get you so far. And they're more for the fans, you guys out there listening. They're really just, shots in the dark. And so ultimately, what you're looking at is more of the position at this part of this early stage of the offseason and draft time. And so you look at what picks do they have in the NFL draft? We're looking at how much money does a team have to spend in free agency, where their offense and defense both rank in the league. These are all little hints that are given on where a team might go. And so if you look at the Jaguars, they have 2 players on defense, on outside linebackers, that are free agents. And that could be a real place for them to look to shore up outside linebackers at this part of the draft. When you're talking about the back end of the draft, an outside linebacker, you could potentially be talking about a weak side linebacker, somebody like potentially that would drop, like Rashaan Evans. That's just a name that's been floating out there. At the same time, this is the prime position in the draft to take a guard, to take an offensive lineman. Yeah. And I think you're correct. So for me, if I'm looking at this, I say Number one, probably offensive linemen, which at this point in the draft, the top tackles are most likely gone. The first and second, possibly third guard in the draft is gone. So I could see them going offensive lineman. I could see them going linebacker, a dual threat linebacker, at this point. Yeah. Or the cliche trade out of the first, stack up, potentially, more picks and, build some draft capital, because these guys really don't have too many weaknesses. And at wide receiver, this draft is pretty deep. You could trade out of the first and pick up, your wide receiver mid to late second and still be good.
Right. Yeah. Another name that I'm seeing there that's kind of at the tail end of most mocks in the first is Harold Landry out of Boston College.
Oh, yeah.
In 2016, he had a destructive season. Dude's a defensive end, and he's great, but he can stand up as well, which is really great to see. He's a freak, man. And, he got injured in 2017 and it kind of killed his stock. Beforehand, he would have probably been a top 10 pick, I think, depending
look at his
on
stats. You told me about him weeks ago.
Yeah, dude's sick. So that could be a great addition to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Two other positions I see them maybe looking at is they could go for safety just to pair someone up. I like Church a lot. He's pretty good, but I think if they put someone young in there, young and hungry and angry, like a Ronnie Harrison, I think that could go pretty well. I like James Daniels. I feel like there's going to be a team because so many people really like James Daniels, center guard out of shit.
When you're talking too fast.
Yeah, Iowa. Yeah, and the whole thing with Iowa people is Iowa puts out good players. They're always generally pretty just solid. And I think someone's going to fall in love with James Daniels at the combine. And it's entirely possible that he ends up going to the Jaguars at the end of the round. They could go tight end too, because Mercedes Lewis can't play forever. I'm not sure what kind of grade that they're going to have on someone like Hayden Hurst though, or out of South Carolina, or Mark Andrews out of Stanford.
I just don't know if they have first round grades. That's my only hesitation.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing is that something that they want? Who knows at this point?
I think when you're talking about the drafting at the back end of the first half, it's always, best player available in terms of value. And where you rank a team, or where you rank certain players, and then needs. So
yeah,
who knows, man? Who knows?
And it's just somebody
exactly.
That's
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes our What the Fuck Jaguars segment. Anything else you want to throw out there, buddy?
As always, you have to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, our own website. We have our social security, so if you want to steal our identity, any of those things, hit us up. Leave us a comment.
Yeah, send us any questions you have, folks. Tell us what you think.
You've been listening to the Backups Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, find us on iTunes, and visit the website at www.thebackups.com with a Z for more.